Washington's establishment's in full panic mode right now. The numbers just dropped, and they are scrambling to explain how Trump created over 500,000 jobs, with every single one going to native-born Americans. Not a single job to foreign workers. Zero. Meanwhile, Biden handed 2/3 of his jobs to immigrants while Americans stood in unemployment lines. The contrast couldn't be more shocking, but here's what has them really terrified. Trump's one big beautiful bill is about to unleash an economic tsunami that makes Reagan's boom look like a ripple. The deep state knows what's coming. The question is, do you? We'll keep watching. And here's the hard truth, though. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half of its buying power, thanks to the Federal Reserve. That means $100,000 savings account today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. And you see it every time you fill up your tank, you buy your groceries, or pay the bills. Prices up, your dollar's down. I mean, we're hoping the big, beautiful bill is going to resolve all this. But there is a simple way if you want to take action now. Right? Don't wait for government to fix it. You have the power in your own hand. A simple way to protect your value of your savings with something that's real, something proven is gold, an asset that holds its value over time. That's why I trust, personally, Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to protect your savings with physical gold or silver, no high-pressure sales, no call centers in India, just honest guidance, one-on-one support, and transparent pricing. And right now, when you open a qualified account, Noble Gold will send you a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar as a thank you. So head to nextnewsgold.com to learn more. That's nextnewsgold.com. Don't just protect your wealth, preserve its power. And the number on the screen, 877-646-5347. And when you call, ask for Colin. Tell him Gary Franchi sent you. Just like protecting your wealth with gold shields you from inflation, Trump's one big beautiful bill promises to shield America from the largest tax hike in history. We're talking about a $4 trillion disaster that would crush every working family in this country if Congress fails to act. Now, the latest jobs report just demolished every prediction from the so-called experts. The Council of Economic Advisors, Chairman Stephen Miran, broke down what the establishment media won't tell you about Trump's economic miracle. And what did they say? That every single job gain since inauguration went to Americans and not foreign workers. That's a complete reversal of the Biden disaster, where immigrants got the jobs while citizens got pink slips. Now, the private sector is exploding while government bloat shrinks. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer puts the stunning reversal in perspective. Watch how Trump's leadership is transforming our economy. Take a look.
The 139,000 new jobs added to this economy is great for the American people. President Trump, under his leadership, invested in this. We're seeing that month after month, we are exceeding expectations.
Exceeding expectations. 139,000 jobs for the third straight month. It's not luck, it's policy that puts America first and actually working. But none of this matters if the big, beautiful bill fails. The clock is ticking on the largest tax increase in American history. $4 trillion will get ripped from working families' pockets if Congress doesn't act within weeks. OMB Director Russ Vaught reveals the historic savings that's hidden in this bill that Democrats desperately want to kill. Watch.
But this bill has historic levels of mandatory savings. Historic. We've never seen anything like the level of $1.7 trillion in mandatory savers. It's why the bill over 10 years actually reduces debt and deficits. It's not a rounding error when you have historic levels. When you look back, the last time we were even in the conversation of savings like this was 1990s. Can the bill be improved? Sure. We're very happy with what passed out of the House. We're having great conversations in the Senate and continuing with House members to make improvements to the bill. But this bill, in addition to accomplishing vast amounts of the president's agenda, and that's really what this is. It is an agenda bill. It is not a budget bill. It is a device to get through the Senate without the Senate filibuster and to put as much as you possibly can into it. And any one of these provisions in any other year would have been the subject for 6 to 8 months of debate This bill puts them all together, helping the American people on so many different fronts that the president was promised to them on the campaign. And in addition, it reduces debt and deficits over 10 years by $1.4 trillion.
Historic mandatory savings, $1.4 trillion, levels we haven't seen since the 1990s. Now, the bill actually reduces debt while cutting taxes. I mean, when's the last time Washington managed that? Real wages are surging, though, at 5% annually, while inflation sits at just 2%. What does that mean? It means that workers are getting ahead for the first time in years. Here's Stephen Moore explaining why this is only the beginning of the economic explosion.
The other positive thing about this report, which is very much a reversal from the Biden years, is we got a good jump up in wages. You know, workers want to be well paid. One of the ways of getting workers back into the workforce is to increase their wages and salaries. So according to this report, the wages and salaries are growing by about 5% annually. And think about that. We're at inflation at about 2%. So what that's telling you is real wages, real take-home pay for workers is increasing. And as we talked about for 4 years on the show, under Biden, it was falling. So that's a very, very positive thing for the American family and the American worker.
Workers' take-home pay is increasing after 4 years of Biden's inflation eating their paychecks. This reversal didn't happen by accident. It's Trump economics in action. Now, the energy sector is leading the charge with oil and gas extraction jobs booming. Construction and mining are surging as we bring critical mineral production back from China. Here's Cheryl Casson revealing which industries are driving this America First jobs revolution. Watch.
As far as the major industries, they also mention, which I think could be a good thing here, they're mentioning oil and gas extraction, drill baby drill, everybody. And then they're also mentioning construction and mining. You know, think about this push to get more copper produced here in the United States. We don't need to be getting our minerals from overseas, from China anymore. That is already happening under President Trump, and that seems to be reflected in this data.
Drill, baby, drill. Not just a slogan. It's creating real jobs for real Americans while securing our energy independence. Now, manufacturing's returning, but it's not your grandfather's factory floor. Advanced manufacturing. It requires new skills. American workers are stepping up. Joel Schulman from ER Shares sees optimism everywhere as small businesses prepare for the coming boom. Watch.
There's optimism here on the horizon. We've got the next CPI on June 11th. Real estate has been trending down. It's not growing as quickly. And so we've seen PEC come down. CPI in the last few months have come down. So I think the last CPI last month was a catalyst. I think we're going to see another catalyst on June 11th, coupled with this better than expected jobs report. So I think things are looking more optimistic. If the tariff impact is fairly small, and we'll wait and see what happens here, I think we've got better than average rate cuts in our horizon.
Rate cuts are coming, inflation's dropping, the perfect storm for economic growth if we can get the bill passed. Now, the small business revolution is also exploding across America. Job Creators USA CEO Alfredo Ortiz explains how private enterprise is crushing government expansion. Exactly what Trump promised to deliver. Watch.
And look, the real story here is the government jobs are down and the small business economy is growing and the private economy is growing. This is exactly what Donald Trump wanted to do. We're inversing everything that Biden had done. Remember, last time under the Biden administration, 500,000 jobs were created, but they were in the government sector, right? And so it's so good to see that we're actually creating private economy jobs again. And look, in the midst of this is also some of the uncertainty that's coming from the tariffs and the unknowns of the tax cuts. So, but that's why we need the tax cuts. That's why the actions of the president on the tariffs. This is all about jobs overall, and the actions of the president are about jobs. And so, you know, I know we haven't touched much on the tax cuts, but really, you know, if we think about tax cuts now is jobs tomorrow. And so that's what the president wants. And I think that's what we're seeing today.
Private economy jobs are replacing government bureaucracy. Think about that. This is how you drain the swamp while building prosperity. Stephen Miran appeared again this morning to hammer home the urgency. Watch him just explain why passing this bill within the next month will end all economic uncertainty and trigger an investment boom. Watch.
These numbers are better than a lot of the economists had predicted. As you know, businesses have been warned about the uncertainty caused by the president's trade war. Many of the largest public U.S. companies have actually suspended their forecasts for future earnings as a result of that. What do you say to employers desperate for clarity about the business environment ahead?
I'd say be a little bit more patient. In about a month or so, hopefully, the One Big Beautiful Bill will be passed, and all of the uncertainty about whether America is going to experience the biggest tax hike in history, $4 trillion tax hike that would plunge it into recession if we don't pass this bill, will be gone. And instead, the bill will create an economic boom in America by creating huge incentives for investment, huge incentives for additional labor supply, and it's going to be a great outcome if we get that bill passed. And also, about a month from now, will be the deadline for the trade deals, and I hope that we'll have a bunch of trade deals come in over the next month. And so what I'd say is that uncertainty, there has been uncertainty, but it will start resolving.
Business leaders are begging for clarity. In 1 month, they'll either get the biggest tax cut in history or watch their companies get crushed by Biden's tax time bomb. Now, the establishment tried to sabotage Trump's first term by lying about his tax cuts. They claimed disaster. Well, we got the greatest economy in history. Remember? Do you remember? Oh, man, that Trump economy, 2016, it was beautiful. That whole first administration, you could feel it everywhere. And what happened when Biden got into office? It was like doom and gloom, like a great cloud descended over the entire nation. I mean, it wasn't just because the election was stolen. I mean, that was bad enough. But we knew the economy was going south. Peter Navarro, he exposes how they're now using the same playbook again with fake CBO numbers. Watch.
If I had a dime for every time President Trump said on the campaign trail he was going to end the EV mandate, I'd have a ton of dimes. And he is a man who keeps his promises. This really isn't about the EV money per se. What it's about with the CBO is an historic pattern of getting their forecast wrong. If you go back to the 2017 tax cut that the president orchestrated, the CBO at the time forecasted, as usual, a very low rate of growth. It did static scoring. Its Keynesian assumptions basically put it on a path where we now know it underestimated the growth rate by about a percentage point, and that's trillions of dollars. And it's there they go again. I guess they can't help themselves. At least they have now included the tariff revenue in, and when you do that, that alone gets us the surplus. But when you get the growth rate, too, I mean, Maria, we're not going to grow 1.7% over the period with Trump policies. That's absurd. We've seen the Trump policies work before, the deregulation, the strategic energy dominance, lower energy prices, the fair trade, and now the Doge waste, fraud, and abuse cuts. We know that we're going to grow in the 2s and probably hit 3 or more because of the president's policies. And the CBO won't score that. So if I could sit down with Ron John, I love that guy. I'd just go over the numbers with him. But the numbers are the numbers, and this, if you do the numbers correctly, you get to a substantial multi-trillion-dollar surplus. And I think that's what people should focus on, because the bond market has been reacting, I think, in the wrong direction to all the rhetoric about the bill. But if you just do the numbers say yields should be coming down.
So the CBO says growth at 1.7%. Absurd when Trump policies delivered 3% growth before and will again. Now watch how the president is already beating expectations month after month. Stephen Miran celebrates another jobs report that shocked the experts who keep underestimating Trump's economy. Watch.
139,000 for May. The expected number was 130. Others had it around 125,000. Not terrible. What is your reaction on that, Stephen?
No, they're great jobs numbers. The president's economy is healthy. The president is succeeding in creating hundreds of thousands of jobs since he came into office. More than 500,000 jobs since he came into office, and they're all going to native-born Americans.
Okay.
And on top of that, wages grew in May at twice the pace that they grew in April. Right. So we've got better job creation, better real income growth. It's a great report.
500,000 jobs created, and they're all going to native-born Americans. When has that ever happened in modern history? And trade deals are coming fast as our partners realize that Trump means business. Miran drops hints about what's brewing behind closed doors with Europe and Asia. Watch.
There's a number of deals in the works with a number of our trading partners, particularly in Asia and in Europe as well. And, I expect that these deals to come out in a flurry as we get closer to the deadline. Some might come out very soon, but I expect there to be a flurry as we get closer to the deadline because of the process in which these deals are proceeding, where there's steps that everyone is taking to move the deal forward. And those steps are designed to yield success around the time of the deadline.
So multiple deals ready to drop as deadlines approach. Trump's negotiating genius at work. And the economic data proves one thing beyond doubt. When you put America first, Americans win. Small business confidence is soaring. Manufacturing returning. Energy independence is here. I'm so happy. Can you imagine if Kamala Harris was in the Oval Office right now? We wouldn't be celebrating this type of news. Wages are beating inflation. Folks, this is only the appetizer before the main course. What's the main course? The one big beautiful bill. If you got value from this report, tab subscribe. It's time for my final thought. Now, this isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet, okay? This is about your family's future. Every single economic indicator is screaming the same message. Trump's policies work. Period. We've got 500,000 Americans back to work. Wages crushing inflation. Small business thriving. But here is the brutal truth. It all vanishes. It all vanishes if Congress fails to pass the one big beautiful bill. $4 trillion in tax hikes will destroy everything that we have built. And you know what's going to happen? They will point the finger at Trump. They will blame him on every single channel, up and down. This is Trump's economy. But no, that is only if the swamp wins. We can't let the swamp win. The swamp knows this. The globalist knows this. And that is why they're fighting so dirty to stop it. So here is my question for you. Should Republicans who vote against these tax cuts be primaried out of office? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. Remember, this is about survival patriots. And if you want to show where you stand, check out our merch shop. It's linked below. Wear your support proudly, because America First isn't just a slogan. It's our lifeline.